Part 62. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 611. Chapter 611 Messy in the Wind. The couple ignored the battlefield in the kitchen and hurriedly went to wash and change clothes. When they came out, Zhang Lishi had already taken away the small wontons in the kitchen. Who makes their little glutinous rice keep shouting that they are hungry and say that they can also make wontons. Fan Qiuying and Zhang Lishi naturally had to quickly see the results of their grandson's battle, so all the wontons in the kitchen were packed up and taken away. Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding finished cleaning up the kitchen. Zhang Xiaoxiao then solemnly pulled Song Moding into the house. "Daughter-in-law, I know you covet my male beauty, but this man in the blue sky pulled me into the house and announced, 'What the hell? If my parents come later, I won't be the only one who will be embarrassed.'" Song Moding was pleased by Zhang Xiaoxiao's expression of guilty conscience. Sincerely teasing his wife. Zhang Xiaoxiao rolled his eyes at him. "Dad, please don't think about nice things. I want to talk to you about some serious issues. A lot of serious things have happened recently, so you'd better be serious." Zhang Xiaoxiao dragged the person to the sofa. Song Moding saw Zhang Xiaoxiao being so serious, not like he was joking. He also put away the playful expression on his face and sat upright and looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao. "My wife rarely looks so serious anymore, which means something big has happened, and it is something very serious. The last time Zhang Xiaoxiao was so serious, that time Zhang Xiaoxiao suddenly disappeared and then came back inexplicably. That time when he came back, he told himself so seriously about Wu Weiguo. At that time, Song Moding was shocked. He did not expect that Zhang Xiaoxiao's true life experience was actually a child of the Wu family. Although there have been many speculations, one day it really came true, and the shock in my heart was still hard to conceal. Most importantly, Zhang Xiaoxiao reminded him that Wu Weiguo might be involved in some major events, and it was very likely that Wu Weiguo was involved in her daughter. Both couples must make some preparations, otherwise if something happens, it will be their little family that will be hurt. Zhang Xiaoxiao vaguely reminded Song Moding that Wu Weiguo might be threatened. This kind of threat is likely to endanger their small family, but Zhang Xiaoxiao is Wu Weiguo's daughter. This father has not provided her with any protection since she was a child, nor has he raised her up, but once she is implicated, this daughter will never be able to run away. Song Moding had already been careful. Even said hello to Jin Dachuan. Jin Dachuan has many former comrades under him who are now retired and working. Song Moding would not be stingy about spending money on this for the sake of his wife and children. He specially hired a few skilled comrades as secret bodyguards to protect the safety of Zhang Xiaoxiao and Tang Yuan, and even his own father-in-law and mother-in-law. Grandpa and Grandma's place is heavily guarded, and no one dares to provoke their grandparents easily. The best people to attack are Zhang Xiaoxiao and his family. Now that Zhang Xiaoxiao is like this again, can Song Moding not be nervous? What I'm talking about today is about glutinous rice balls. Zhang Xiaoxiao was also helpless. Any mother also hopes that her son will grow up happily, and Zhang Xiaoxiao is the same. But Song Moding's eyes turned cold and immediately became sharp. He has only two thoughts in his heart. One Zhang Xiaoxiao and one glutinous rice dumpling. The kind where whoever touches it dies. What's going on? Is it because of the Wu family? Song Moding originally didn't want to get involved in the Wu family's matter, but if this matter really endangered his wife and children, then he thought he would not hesitate to get involved in the Wu family's matter. Even if Wu Weiguo was Zhang Xiaoxiao's biological father, nor can he drag his wife and children into this whirlpool. Although he didn't know what he had done for Wu Weiguo, if Wu Weiguo harmed his wife and children, Song Moding would never let it go. Song Moding's aura suddenly changed, becoming murderous, and his eyes were unfathomable. Zhang Xiaoxiao hurriedly held Song Moding's big hand in comfort. This time it has nothing to do with the Wu family, but everything to do with me. Songmoting's tense nerves suddenly relaxed, and the tight muscles in his arms instantly collapsed. Hold Jiang's small hand with your backhand and interlock your fingers. What does it have to do with you? Is it a problem with educating Tang Yuan? The child is still young, and sometimes his personality has not yet been settled. I know you don't want Tang Yuan to develop many bad habits, but he is still a child after all. Only 2 years old. It is impossible for him to act like an adult now. We teach him slowly. Besides, neither of us are spoilers. Tang Yuan will definitely grow up to be an upright man. Absolutely no problem, you don't have to worry about this. When talking about his son Songmoting, his eyes are filled with the love of his old father. Songmoting cherished his son. Zhang Xiaoxiao smiled bitterly. Originally, you probably had a guess in your mind about this matter. I have always covered my ears and hid my head in the sand like an ostrich. I can't see all the dangers and don't have to face everything. But sometimes that's not the case. There is something strange about me, and you may have already realized it. Zhang Xiaoxiao's open and honest attitude made Songmoting nervous. It's hard for my wife to leave. Most people will not disclose their secrets to the public easily. If you tell yourself this secret, does it mean that your wife's last choice is to leave, so it doesn't matter if you tell him the secret? Songmoting couldn't help but squeeze Jiang's small hand tightly, and his strength suddenly became very strong. Zhang Xiaoxiao cried out in pain. Songmoting did not relax. Xiaoxiao, are you going? Where are you going? I can't let you go. You promised me that we will be husband and wife for life. We can overcome any difficulties. I can't lose you. Xiaoxiao, are you willing to throw it away? My son and me. Songmoting didn't realize that his tone was humble and pleading. He was really scared. Zhang Xiaoxian felt warm, and a wave of heat surged out from the bottom of his heart. I was frightened. Songmoting. Hold Songmoting tightly and patted Songmoting's back comfortingly. His straight spine seemed to slowly relax. Zhang Xiaoxiao just let go of him. Don't think so wildly. I said we were going to be husband and wife for life. How could we give up halfway now? You don't know what you are thinking about all day long. What I want to say is not that I want to leave, or that I want to abandon you and me. Tang Yuan, I discovered that Tang Yuan now has some strange abilities. If I use my adjectives, he probably has superpowers. Zhang Xiaoxiao's words were like a bomb, exploding so much that stars appeared in Songmoting's eyes. Superpower. Zhang Xiaoxiao also looked depressed. This child's eyes can penetrate a wall. I tested it with him today, and so far he can only see through a wall. We have never paid attention to this since we were young, but this child has already had this ability. He can see what the people next door are doing. Songmoting was in a mess in the wind. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 612. Chapter 612. Mom doesn't want a sister either. Tang Yuan sat in his mother's arms while Songmoting drove the car. The family of 3 were walking on the road. Steamed buns are different from glutinous rice balls. Steamed buns go to kindergarten. Tang Yuan can still be free for half a year and will go to kindergarten next year. Tang Yuan, let's go shopping today. Songmoting has been frowning since yesterday. The old father had not slept all night, and his eyes were all red and bloodshot. Who can be more worried than him? Oh my God. The son has superpowers. Can see through walls. Can it be any more powerful? The problem is that he can't believe it. The couple specially brought glutinous rice with them today just to do experiments when going out. Songmoting thought for a night. None of them knew the extent of his son's clairvoyance ability. They don't know how this ability started. Can this ability evolve, or is it possible to continue to improve? They are even less clear. The only thing that is certain now is that glutinous rice can see through a wall, there is no doubt about it. Last night, Songmoding didn't dare to hold his wife while he was lying in bed. He was just worried that his little glutinous rice ball might see what they were doing when he glanced over from next door. The annoyance in my heart. Since childhood, the two of them have slept next door to Tang Yuan. I am afraid that when the child wakes up at night, he will cry if no one is with him. It was good now. Songmoding felt as transparent as if he had no clothes on. It was too embarrassing to be seen through by his son. Songmoding was heartbroken that the 2-year-old kid was so powerful now. My wife is already enough to worry about. Now he has one more son. Songmoding felt that his life was completely difficult. It is his responsibility to protect his wife and children, and it is now heavy on his shoulders. In the rearview mirror, I saw Zhang Xiaoxiao and Tang Yuan laughing heartlessly. Songmoding sighed deeply. What can be done? He wants to become stronger. Must become stronger. Become that kind of being who can control the wind and rain, and whoever dares to touch his wife and children will die. No, he probably didn't even dare to have this thought. Songmoding felt that there was a long way to go. Power is not something you can just talk about. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at Songmoding, whose expression had not improved since yesterday, and felt secretly guilty. There is nothing we can do, this can't be hidden for long. Don't tell Songmoding. Once the filling of the glutinous rice is exposed, it will be a fatal disaster. Originally, I wanted to send glutinous rice to the nursery, but Fan Qiuying and Zhang Lishi were too tired. The second sister's children still need to be picked up and dropped off by their parents, and now they also have glutinous rice and steamed buns. Although Mrs. Song is willing to take care of the glutinous rice dumplings and buns, Zhang Xiaoxiao is worried. Fang Xiaowai and Song Mohuan live across the street. Every time she went back to the Song family, she felt uneasy. After all, that's where they lived for 3 years. Now someone else suddenly lives in it. It's strange to feel comfortable. But he also knew that the old lady was confused at that time, and he couldn't escape being too stingy. It is easy to invite gods but difficult to send them away. Zhang Xiaoxiao still dares to send glutinous rice to nurseries and kindergartens. This is a time bomb. Tang Yuan doesn't know how to hide it at all, and the filling can be revealed casually. Zhang Xiaoxiao himself was worried. Peach tree, can't you worry less? Space will not answer. Tang Yuan bit his fingers happily and looked out the window curiously. Mom, where is this place? It's so high. The place pointed by Tang Yuan is the most famous palace. It's Gao. I'll take you there next time there's a museum there. Zhang Xiaoxiao's helpless explanation. Songmoding and the others chose a Great Wall scenic spot in the suburbs. It was not fully developed yet and there were many people, but it was a vast enough place that was very suitable for their kind of outdoor training. How did Xiao Tang Yuan know that he would have a life of dire straits in the future? The car stopped at the foot of the mountain. Songmoding held Tang Yuan's hand. This child was very independent and usually did not let others hold him. Absolutely don't hold her if she can walk. He is a very worry-free child. Zhang Xiaoxiao took Tang Yuan's other hand. Complicated feelings. My own peach seems to be too effective. Should I find a special peach for Songmoding to eat? Then their family of 3 will become a being like Wonder Woman. Or is it the electromagnetic king in some kind of science fiction movie? If that's the case, Zhang Xiaoxiao doesn't even know what route they should take in the future. I am a doctor, and I promised to cure diseases and save people, but now I am turning into a way to save the world. This road is a bit wild. Last night I went to Zhang Xiaoxiao to take a look at the space. The peach tree in front of Lingquan really produced fruits that were different from those before. In the past, fruits had their own effects on human body ailments, but now I suddenly discovered that based on that, a special fruit would be produced every time. I didn't see the transparent fruit of glutinous rice balls, but there was a most novel fruit, which looked very eye-catching. It's a bit like chasing down a rotten peach that has turned purple from high in the sky. It's very uncomfortable to watch. Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't dare to mess around on his own. Since discovering that the peaches in Lingquan have special functions, Zhang Xiaoxiao has become much more stable. Now he is only responsible for picking peaches, but he doesn't dare to try. Shen Nong tasted hundreds of herbs, and she was afraid that one day she would turn into a monster with horns on her head, which would be too bad. So when peaches bear fruit every 6 months, Zhang Xiaoxiao is responsible for making peach juice and dried peaches. He also labels each bottle, but he never dares to do anything about it. This time, Zhang Xiaoxiao wouldn't dare mess with Daisy. But I saw the special effects of glutinous rice balls. Zhang Xiaoxiao's heart was pounding rapidly. What if you really eat these peaches and you can turn into someone like the X-Men? Try or not? The weirdness of things must have its needs. Is it going to be the end of the world? Zhang Xiaoxiao smiled bitterly. In his last life, he lived to be over 80 years old and did not see the end of the world. It is unlikely that he will do so in this life either. Song Moding looked at his daughter-in-law who looked sad. Have to. The two of them were now frowning more closely than the other. Song Moding himself laughed when life was like this. Tang Yuan, do you want to come out and have fun? Tang Yuan was so proud that he could no longer see the steps he was taking. I'm happy, Mom Dad comes out to play with me. I'm happy anytime Mom and Dad. It would be great if you can keep doing this, otherwise Tang Yuan will be too lonely. Huan Xiaoxiao sighed like an adult. Zhang Xiaoxiao gave him a chestnut. Tang Yuan immediately covered his forehead and looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao with an accusing look on his face. Mom, do you think I took away my father, so this is revenge? Tang Yuan is so pitiful. My parents love me the most own children. Our family is quite different. Dad loves Mom the most, and Mom loves Dad the most. Tang Yuan is pitiful, but it's okay. Tang Yuan also has brother Beizai and Aunt Yi, but soon there will be more friends in the family. I just don't know if she will cry as much as the fat girl next door. Actually, I don't like my sister who loves to cry, Mom, otherwise you should send her away. Tang Yuan thinks that my sister may not be very cute, although I really like to tie my sister's hair in pigtails. It must be a very happy thing. Tang Yuan complained seriously. Zhang Xiaoxiao felt his belly with 5 thunderclaps in his head. Stumped. Tang Yuan nodded and shook his head arrogantly. Mom, you don't want a sister either, right? Song Moding looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao, and Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at Song Moding. That's it? It seems like I really haven't had any good friends this month. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 613. Chapter 613, Jumping into the Yellow River and not being able to wash away. Go to the hospital. Song Moding did not object to this unexpected little life. Since Tang Yuan, the couple has taken safety measures. Before graduation, they were not mentally prepared to have another child. The studies are heavy, and the glutinous rice are still small. There are actually 3 children in the family. Tang Yuan, Steamed Buns, and Bai Yi. None of them have the intention to continue working hard. It takes a lot of energy to support these children. But if he comes, Song Moding will still welcome him. Especially the meaning of glutinous rice is a daughter. Doesn't everyone say that the daughter is the father's little lover in his previous life? How can he not want his little lover? Zhang Xiaoxiao gritted his teeth. It's all your fault. Last time I told you to, now it's okay. You told me it's okay. What do you call this now? We're about to have an internship. If you want to give birth to a child, you can give birth to it yourself. With a stomp of his feet, Zhang Xiaoxiao turned around and walked down instead of going up the mountain. Internship is so important, it's her operating table. How come it's so easy to win the bid? People can't have a baby even if they want to. Come to her one after another. If I come again, it will be my own internship. Zhang Xiaoxiao is really heartbroken. But Zhang Xiaoxiao couldn't refuse the arrival of the little life. Family planning has started, and she is risking a fine to give birth to a child. Perhaps there will be no such opportunity in the future. It's better to give birth. Zhang Xiaoxiao touched her belly helplessly. There was a little life gestating here. What could she do? Tang Yuan, there is a temple over there, can you see it? Song Moding took his son's little hand and pointed to the great Buddhist temple not far away. Tang Yuan nodded and glanced at it confusedly, looking very focused. Dad, many people are burning incense, and there are many people kneeling there and kowtowing, muttering something, and they look very strange. The strangest time is in the house in the backyard. Tang Yuan kept talking about what he saw. Song Moding was stunned, but he still saw someone stealing the sesame oil money. Would my son's eyes be so good? Xiao Xiao, wife, let's go in and take a look. Zhang Xiaoxiao is no longer angry. Accepting the reality and solving the problem are the only solutions. Getting angry won't solve the problem at all. Zhang Xiaoxiao shook his head. I still won't go in, I want to take a rest. She was fine not knowing she was pregnant, but now that she is pregnant, she begins to feel nausea in her chest. It is the kind that cannot be suppressed. Zhang Xiaoxiao thought it was probably a psychological effect. But there was nothing she could do, she just started to act pretentious. Song Moding took one look at Zhang Xiaoxiao and knew that his wife was starting to have morning sickness. With the lesson of Tang Yuan, he had experienced it. Song Moding told Zhang Xiaoxiao to rest here, and he went in with glutinous rice balls. What are they doing here if they don't verify the miraculousness of their son? Song Moding pulled the glutinous rice in. At this time, a group of people were watching. You didn't learn well at a young age, and you came here to steal sesame oil money. Do you know that this is blasphemy to the gods? A bald monk with an angry face. Hand held tightly the wrist of a young man in his 20s. Others also gathered around to watch. There were 7 or 8 other monks wearing green robes who also criticized him. People's hearts are really unhappy now. A thief actually stole into the temple. Such people must be severely punished and sent to the police station to report to the police. The world is really going downhill. Today's young people don't want to make progress and earn money through hard work, they just want to get something for nothing. Many people also pointed fingers. Many people come here to worship Buddha, so naturally they have a little bit of a future in mind. Of course, there are also people who just come here to visit, but this temple is very popular. This is a fact. So for a while everyone pointed the finger at this young man. No one has sympathy for a thief. The young man's face turned red with anxiety. I didn't steal money, I didn't steal money at all. I was looking for the toilet just now, and I accidentally opened the curtain and rushed in. But when I saw no one came out immediately, I didn't touch anything inside at all. The young man regretted that he was really in a hurry to go to the toilet, so he didn't want to accidentally go to the toilet and ran into such a thing. The monk caught himself, it must be that they lost the money. This is not an unjust death. The monk glared and said, Faming, go and check how much money has been lost. When I entered just now, I saw that the box containing the money had been turned over. I watched you enter that room, who else could it be if it wasn't you? The little monk named Dharma hurried in, and soon a wooden box popped out. Everyone saw that the box had been opened, and it was empty with only a few steel dungeons lying inside. Senior brother, all the money is gone, and only this amount of steel is left. When the young monk named Dharma said this, he gritted his teeth. They were saving the money for the fragrant oil in the temple to reshape the golden body of the Bodhisattva. They have worked hard to save for so many years and have saved a lot of money. All the brothers and sisters in the temple lived frugally just to realize this wish. It's better now, this person will take away all their money in the box as soon as he comes. Do you know how much money is in this box? You actually took all the more than 20,000 yuan we saved. What a black heart. The monk holding the young man was furious. If those two eyeballs could be on fire, they would have burned the young man in front of him to ashes. Other monks also rolled up their sleeves and were about to push the person out. They are monks and cannot beat people, but the nature of this incident was so bad that it aroused public outrage. Oh my God, this person took all the more than 20,000 yuan. It's so abominable. These masters must have saved all this money frugally, but this person actually took it all away. What a shame. That's so wicked. It must be sent to the Public Security Bureau. Such a person should be sentenced to 3 to 5 years, and he could just be shot. He even steals such money. It is simply lawless. But I don't think this man is dressed like a thief. Is it a misunderstanding? Some people are still confused. It is true that this young man is wearing a good quality shirt, trousers, and leather shoes, and he looks like a cultural man. Especially the other pens on the chest, it can be seen that he is a person with ink. It does not look like such a person wants to be a thief. Someone replied disdainfully. You should not judge a person by his appearance. Do you know who he is? Some people are well dressed, but what they do is not human affairs. Also, sometimes a real thief cannot be seen. The more he dresses like this, the less likely people will suspect that he is a thief. Many people express their opinions, and young people are so anxious that they don't know how to defend themselves. You have really misunderstood. I am not a thief. I did not steal money. This is more than 20,000 yuan. If I really stole it, at least I would put it in my pocket. If you don't believe it, you can search me. I really don't have any money except the 20 yuan I took with me when I went out. Young people are also anxious. You think we are stupid? Thieves in recent years have committed crimes in groups. Whoever steals the money and puts it on himself has already let his accomplices take it away. The young man was speechless and was about to cry without tears. I really jumped into the Yellow River and couldn't wash myself away. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 614. Chapter 614, Insider. Song Moding whispered to Tang Yuan in a low voice. Tang Yuan hugged Song Moding's neck and said a few words. Mom and Dad have been nagging in his ears every day these days. Let him see something, don't say it out loud, tell his parents quietly. Tang Yuan's ears are calloused, and Beizai's brother is like his parents every day, telling him in his ears that he is not allowed to tell anything about what he sees, and can only tell his family secretly. Now Tang Yuan has been able to accept this concept very well. You have wronged this young man. Song Moding spoke. The monks who were twisting the young man's arms and preparing to push him out of the temple, as well as the onlookers, all stopped. People looked back at Song Moding in surprise. At first glance, Song Moding had a child with him, so he didn't look like a bad person. A comrade must speak with evidence. Why do you say that we have wronged him? It is clear that all the money in the box is gone. Although he has no money on him, it does not mean that he did not steal it. If he had an accomplice, the money would have been given away long ago. Walk. He sent him to the Public Security Bureau earlier, and asked the police to ask the cause and consequences, as well as his associates. The money might be wasted by his accomplices. Dharma name is extremely urgent. They all have to jump on their feet, and their brothers in the temple eat half a bowl of rice every meal. He is the age of his body. In order to save money to save the Bodhisattva, he is always hungry. He is always hungry. Now it is good. This person stole the money they had worked hard for a few years. There are still people who defend him. Is this justified? Dharma Minjaya felt that the big white steamed buns and white rice he had longed for were not worth it. If I had known that the thief would steal it, I might as well have let him exchange the money for big white steamed buns and eat them directly in his stomach. The young man looked at Song Moding gratefully. He has been talking for a long time, and his voice is almost hoarse, but no one listens to him, and no one believes him. Finally, someone in modern times stood up to support him. He felt like a light suddenly appeared in the dark cloudy sky. Like a savior. Comrade, I really didn't steal. But apart from this dry sentence, he himself could not provide any evidence to prove that he did not steal. We can only hope that when we get to the police station, the police can find out the truth of the matter. I know you didn't steal it, you didn't take the money at all. Song Moding's calm words made all the monks angry. You said he didn't steal, so he didn't steal. Maybe you are the thief's accomplice. The senior brother pointed at Song Moding's nose and shouted. When the others heard this, they couldn't help but look a little strange. Indeed, the one who could stand up and speak for this young man at this time might actually be his accomplice. Song Moding walked up to everyone with a smile, holding the glutinous rice tightly with one hand. Don't worry, everyone. Whether you are an accomplice or not cannot be proven by words, but by facts. The money has never left this yard at all, it is here now. If everyone is in a mess now, and mistook this young man for treat him as a thief and send him to the police station. Some people will take the opportunity to transfer the money, and by then the real evidence will not be found. Everyone looked at each other. The onlookers were not brainless, and everyone agreed with this. Indeed, if so many of them were confused and decided that the young man in front of them was a thief, who would doubt others? If there is chaos, whoever takes the money will take the opportunity to run away. Even if it is proven that the young man is not a thief, the money will not be recovered. Well, since you said the money is still here, you can find it for us. No one should leave. Anyone who wants to leave now is a thief. The angry senior brother pointed at everyone. The crowd of onlookers. At this moment, I felt like I was riding a tiger but couldn't get off. They originally wanted to help people, but they didn't know how to help. Instead they got entangled. It doesn't matter if you leave now or not. If you leave, you will easily be regarded as a thief. Okay, in order to prove everyone's innocence, none of us will leave here until this matter is clarified. Young man, since you said you can prove that the money is here, then you will find it. Prove it. That person's innocence. We wouldn't wrong a good person. Others spoke one after another, not only to prove the innocence of the young man, but also to prove the innocence of all of them. No one can get away with it now. Song Moding nodded and raised his hand to signal everyone to be quiet. Pointed to the box. Everyone has seen it. This box is evidence that the thief is one of us. As soon as these words came out, everyone was in an uproar. Of course, they understood that this person was referring to the monk himself. It can't be tourists like them who burn incense. How can they be considered as one of our own? Those monks quit. Why are you talking nonsense? This is just nonsense. How can we prove that this box was done by one of our own people? Why did our own people steal this money? That senior fellow just now was absolutely furious. Dharma name is also very angry. Senior brother, don't listen to his nonsense. He is the accomplice of this thief. In order to excuse this thief, he actually wronged us. In order to save this money, these brothers and sisters have been frugal and frugal. How many years have they been? Okay. It's so easy to save so much money, but why should we steal it? Do we need to steal it? We have our own money and can't do whatever we want with it, so why should we steal it? This logic doesn't make sense at all. Song Moding said with a smile, don't worry, I know you saved this money frugally, so of course there is no need to steal it. But if you all think so, The money you save does not mean that you have people have no selfish motives. After all, he stole such a large amount of money. If someone wants to eat well and drink spicy food, he or she can make a fortune by doing this. You must know that the number of households with 10,000 yuan in the newspaper is still very rare. This is 20,000 yuan. If someone has any selfish motives, take this money. After returning home, he built a house and married a wife, and he was still rich and abundant. Am I right? As soon as these words came out, the people watching couldn't help but nodded. This is true. Being a monk does not mean that there is no greed. You're right. Maybe this little monk has something in mind. After all, it costs more than 20,000 yuan to return to secular life and have a wife and children on the hotbed. It doesn't cost much to build a house or get a wife. Then my little life was prosperous. My monthly salary is only more than 30 yuan. I can't earn more than 20,000 yuan in a lifetime. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 615. Chapter 615 Fingerprints. You are talking nonsense. If you don't tell us clearly today, I will tell you that you can't get out of this door. You are slandering us. How dare you talk nonsense here in the holy land of Buddhism? The senior brother was angry. Hands trembling fingers, his eyes are as sharp as a knife, he wants to slash song moding with one knife. The name of Dharma also refers to song moding. Yes, if you don't tell me something today, you won't be able to get out of this door today. Don't be impatient, everyone, just stand there and don't move. Let me explain to you first of all, why is it said that this box was done by a thief? There is obviously a lock on this box, and everyone has seen it. You put so much money in it, how could you not lock it? You can't just put the box there in such a big way. The monk nodded, of course we must lock it. I bought the 3 locks here. I will bring back 3 keys, one for senior brother, one for second brother, and one for master. This is to prevent anyone from opening it secretly. This box, take the money. After saying this, everyone fell silent. Can you not be silent? Even they themselves realized what the problem was. The lid of the box had been opened, but the locked part of the box was intact, which proved that no one used violence to break the box. So who opened the box with the key? Only the person with the key can open the box. How can anyone open this box if they are not one of their own? It cannot be said that these foreign pilgrims can still know that they have a box here with a lot of money in it, and they can also get the key to the lock on their box. It's okay if they can get one. Getting all 3 of them is simply a fantasy. Oh, looking at it this way, there really is a thief. The young man hurriedly shook off the monk's hand that was twisting his wrist, turned around and walked to Song Moding's side. He was finally able to turn over. His wrist was so painful from being twisted just now. It was the first time in his life that he became a thief. But, Dharma Ming wanted to say it was not them, but he felt powerless to convince others. Comrade, I really want to thank you, otherwise I would have been unjustly accused to death. I really just entered that house by mistake looking for the toilet, and I didn't even see the broken box. The young man took Song Moding's hand and thanked him. Others, including others, stared at the monk. This is to treat them all as idiots, and they even help thieves to wrongly accuse good people. If this young man is really sent to the police station, he will not be able to explain clearly. In case of accidental cases of unjust, false cases, this will not harm a young man. Let me solve the puzzle for you now. The money is in the house. Just on the beam of the house just now, there is a small bundle with more than 20,000 yuan in it. Song Moding's words immediately made the senior brother's face change. Sir, why are you so flustered? Elder brother tried to calm himself down. I don't understand what you are talking about. Why should I be flustered? What should I have to be flustered about? Even if the money is found on the rafters in the house, there is no way to prove it. This young man did not steal it. What if he stole it and realized that he couldn't take it out? So even if he hid the money on the rafters, how could he prove that he didn't steal it? The senior brother's heart was beating wildly. He never thought that anyone would discover what he had done. But fortunately, except for the money, there was nothing in the bag to prove who stole the money. So what if someone discovered it? That doesn't mean you can prove that you did it yourself. He felt a little calmer. Full confidence. Song mo ting waner. Yes, don't accuse me unjustly. My senior brother is not that kind of person. Dharma names were excited to defend their senior brother. What's going on? What's going on? Didn't someone call the police to report a thief? Where is the thief? At this moment, 2 policemen came over. People were clamoring to call the police just now, but some people had already refunded their money and had already gone to call the police. The police are at the bottom of the mountain, and it's just a matter of going up the mountain. Comrade police, you came just in time. We lost more than 20,000 yuan in money here, and we caught this young man, but the young man refused to admit it. And this comrade, not only did he tell where the money was, where, it must be said that the monks in our temple stole it themselves. We think this is a thief shouting to catch the thief. Maybe this comrade is in the same group as this young man. The 2 of them stole the money and hid it on our rafters. Now they want to blame us and clear their suspicions. Please be sure to make the decision for us. As soon as the senior brother saw the police, he hurriedly explained. What he said was reasonable and well-founded, and there was nothing wrong with it. Even other onlookers were led by the statement and thought it was true. It was a bit like a thief shouting to catch the thief. Comrade, what's going on? How do you know the money is on the rafters? When the police heard this, they looked at Song Moting with suspicion. They had no choice but to listen to this matter again and felt that there were many doubts. First of all, Song Moting was an outsider. How did he know that the money was on the beam? How could anyone know the whereabouts of the money if they were not insiders? Comrade policeman, my name is Song Moting, and I am a student at the medical university. This time I brought my children here specifically for a stroll. To tell you the truth, when we were strolling here, we accidentally saw someone climbing into the room. Liang. Then what happened later was that the young man was caught, so I guessed that the man who climbed up the rafter probably hid the money there. Song Moting glanced at his senior brother meaningfully. The eldest brother blushed. Maybe you are a thief and you want to catch the thief. You saw someone climbing up the beam, but how can you prove who that person is? Those are all your one-sided words. If you are colluding with others and are also a thief, then you might as well throw this basin of sewage over other people's heads to cleanse yourself. What you said really makes sense. I think everyone will suspect that I did it. It's very simple, comrade policeman. Before the thief climbed up the beam, he thought a lot. There must have been no marks on the baggage, and there was nothing left in the baggage that could prove his identity. It is really unclear who stole the money, but the person who put the baggage on the rafters forgot one thing. Well, the roof beams have not been cleaned for many years. There is a lot of dust on it. When he put the bundle away, he left his fingerprints on it. Comrade police officers, this is your job. I believe it depends on your technical ability. Finding out who that fingerprint belongs to should be easy. If he was not a thief, why did he climb up the beam to put the baggage? Moreover, new fingerprints and old fingerprints can be easily distinguished. The senior brother looked gloomy. Completely spread on the ground. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 616. Chapter 616 The Future Domineering President. Sir, did you really do it? You told everyone it wasn't you. Why did you steal the money? You have been in this temple for more than 30 years, and you watched us grow up. It was you have taught us many things, but you have never thought about returning to secular life. What do you want the money for? Dharma Ming cried and pulled his senior brother. He did not believe that his senior brother would do such a thing. Elder brother sighed. This thing was done by the senior brother. The senior brother broke the precepts. These words completely cleared the young man of any suspicion. The police went up to the roof beams to check, and sure enough, there was nothing but the baggage. There were 2 clear fingerprints on the beam. They took the fingerprints and compared them easily with the senior brothers. It was indeed the senior brothers. It seemed that this comrade had really not wronged the senior brother. Everyone was in an uproar. It was really a thief, and he did it so neatly. If Song Moding hadn't come forward, I'm afraid this young man would have been wrongly accused. At that time, who can say that the money was stolen by the senior brother? When things calm down a bit and no one is aware, you can take the money off the rafters and keep it as your own. This is nothing more than guarding and stealing. How can such a person be worthy of being a master? How dare he be a devout disciple in front of Buddha? Why isn't he afraid that the Buddha will retaliate against him? Hey! This is the Buddha's piercing eye. Do you see it? If you do something bad, you will definitely be discovered. Otherwise, it was such a coincidence that this young man and his child happened to see someone climbing up the beam. This is what God has eyes for. There are different opinions. Police handcuffed senior brother. Come back with us and explain. The case has been solved. No matter what the final details of the case are, it is an indisputable fact that the eldest brother committed theft and will definitely be jailed for the crime of theft. Fa Ming cried and hugged his senior brother's legs. In his mind, the eldest brother is just like his father. He has taken care of them since they were young. Many of them respect their senior brother as a father. Who would have thought that senior brother could actually do such a thing? Okay, be obedient and have a good morning class with your senior brothers. If the senior brother makes a mistake, he should bear the responsibility for it. Elder brother was taken away. No one cares about the final outcome of the incident. After all, the incident of a monk stealing from his own temple is already sensational. Song Moding took the glutinous rice and left quietly while people were talking and making chaos there. Zhang Xiaoxiok is still waiting for them at the foot of the mountain. Zhang Xiaoxiao saw the father and son. Why don't you get in the car quickly? You two went to the mountain to cause trouble again. Don't think I didn't see it. A police car drove over just now. And it even ran over one. The monk came down the mountain. Did you two do something? Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't go with her, but that didn't mean that she didn't understand what Song Moding wanted to do. She and her husband came out just to verify Tang Yuan's eyes. If the ability of Tang Yuan is really verified, then the movement on the mountain can easily be connected with Tang Yuan. She was a little worried whether the glutinous rice would be exposed. Tang Yuan's ability must not be known to others. She had to protect her son. She was already scary enough, and Song Moding was afraid of her all day long. With the addition of a son, Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't even know how their family would live in the future. Song Moding opened the door for Tang Yuan and climbed into the car with his chubby body. Tang Yuan sat in the back seat and looked at his mother sitting in the front passenger seat, feeling a little dissatisfied. But Song Moding had already slammed the door shut. The two of us didn't cause any trouble, don't worry, we just helped the police solve a case. Song Moding told Zhang Xiaoxiao what happened and drove home quickly. It was better not to stay in this place of right and wrong. Zhang Xiaoxiao rubbed his temples and looked helplessly in the rearview mirror at the glutinous rice dumpling sitting in the back seat, playing with the small pistol in his hand. The child was having a great time. It can be seen that this child has been particularly fond of these weapons played by boys since he was a child. Coupled with his ability, when he grows up, it would be a waste of resources to not become a soldier or a policeman. But which mother would want her son to do a job with such a high risk factor? My man is already a member of a special organization and needs to be on special duty from time to time. Still an unsung hero, the kind that no one recognizes even after he dies. The last experience is still fresh in my mind. How did the steamed buns come about? It was not until something went wrong in their last mission that this child appeared in their lives. Now the son sees that he is following his father's old path and will never return. Do you think Zhang Xiaoxiao can stop being worried? Even if she has some peach juice, what can she do? You can't say that no one will get hurt. Injury also hurts. And once he is killed in one blow, there is nothing peach juice can do to save him. Song Moding was afraid that Zhang Xiaoxiao would be frightened. His wife, who was really helpless, was pregnant again. He couldn't let his wife be affected by this, so he could only comfort Zhang Xiaoxiao. Don't worry, Tang Yuan is not me. Apart from those toy pistols, Tang Yuan is interested in a wide range of things. It's not like you don't know about him. Sometimes things you like when you are a child may not be what you will like when you grow up. Besides, he is only 3 years old, so why are you so anxious? He might already want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher by the time he is 13 years old. Tang Yuan raised his head and answered domineeringly. Dad, I don't want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher. Song Moding and Zhang Xiaoxiao were both happy. Then what do you want to do? There must be someone who can do it when you grow up. Take Beizai for example. Beizai said that he wants to be a policeman in the future. Your Aunt Baiyi said that she will be a doctor when she grows up. And you? People always have an ideal and an ambition. If you don't want to be these when you grow up, then what do you want to do? Zhang Xiaoxiao was also curious. He had always thought that his son was still a child and had never discussed this issue at all. But now, he could not treat this child as a naughty boy. He was so smart and capable that the two of them were a little surprised. I want to be a businessman. I want to earn a lot of money to build a big house. I want to build the most advanced and powerful hospital in the world for my parents. Moreover, I want to build a big house. I brought my parents, my great-grandfather, my great-grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-grandfather, my great-grandmother, my great-grandfather, my uncle, and my aunt over. We lived together and we were a happy family. Zhang Xiaoxiao burst into laughter. Song Moding rolled his eyes helplessly. His son's ideals are really weird. No one in a family like theirs wants to be a businessman. You must know that in the minds of their fathers, businessmen are somewhat Philistine. They are more willing to do something of quality, the kind of work that is tasteful and consistent with their identity. Must be a doctor, lawyer, teacher, or something like that. Even being a professor is better than the great ideal of my own son. Zhang Xiaoxiao was very happy. There is no distinction between high and low professions. In this era, people's ideal jobs are of course stable, dignified, and respected jobs such as doctors, lawyers, teachers, etc. However, after a few years, businessmen only want status, and a rising tide lifts all boats. They are going to have a domineering president in their family. Of course she is happy. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 617. Chapter 617. Bai Yi cried. Zhang Xiaoxiao came back from the hospital. I confirmed to myself that I was indeed pregnant and was already 2 months pregnant. Zhang Xiaoxiao calculated that he was already a junior in college. It is estimated that this little guy should have landed in college during his junior year. My body is still very relaxed now. It seems that I have to work harder and try my best to compress my junior year courses and complete them within a few months. After all, my physical strength and energy will not be able to keep up in the later stages of pregnancy. She also wants to complete her senior year courses as much as possible. After giving birth to a child, she will not be able to keep up with her energy for at least half a year. The couple returned home. The glutinous rice balls, steamed buns, and baiyi are all at Mrs. Song's place. The couple looked at their growing family members and were wondering whether they should consider buying a new house. Such a house is really not suitable for them to live in anymore, and they cannot live in it. Zhang Xiaoxiao has already set his sights on those courtyard houses. Saihewan is very cheap in this era. They still have the money to buy 2 sets of courtyard houses. The house is renovated so that the family can be closer together. Moreover, it's also lively. Let's just buy 3 sets when the time comes. Fan Qiuying and Zhang Lao do one thing, Mrs. Song and Mr. Song do another thing, and they both have another thing. As for the sister and brother, if they want to buy, I can only give them their opinions. Having spoken out, it is one thing whether they listen to her opinion or not. It is impossible to leave everything to her own mercy. Mrs. Song and the old man were happy when they heard that Zhang Xiaoxiao was pregnant again. They like to have a lively and noisy home, even if the children are naughty, but the home is lively like this. When the old couple were guarding Song Moding in those years, their home was deserted. Once the children grow up and leave home, the old couple will look at each other and have nothing to do except stare at each other. But now, when I am busy, I really feel that my life is enjoyable. This is called the happiness of family relations. The old man retired last year. After retirement, he had no time to feel the loss he felt after suddenly retiring from an important front-line leadership position because he was busy with his grandchildren. Twins, Mrs. Song said excitedly. Her voice was full of trembling and panic when she heard the news. Are they all boys? When the descendants are prosperous, even an old man will be happy. Girl, 2 daughters. Song Moding glanced at Zhang Xiaoxiao's slightly bulging abdomen. It was obviously too big for a 2-month-old pregnant woman. It was impossible for the doctor to tell them the B ultrasound results. But who allowed them to have a ready-made humanoid X-ray machine at home? Mr. Song stared at Song Moding in astonishment, his eyes lacking energy due to shock. There is no twin gene in our family, the old man thought hard and replied cautiously, no one said they would appear in pairs. We have never had twins in our family before. Song Moding's tone was also cautious. In fact, he was as shocked as Zhang Xiaoxiao, this is the first time. But today was her test to confirm whether she was pregnant or not. In fact, they believed Tang Yuan's words. But they still have to make sure again. Of course it was also to verify what Tang Yuan said. They had to take a detour to send her to the doctor first. Looking at her slightly fat belly, they should have expected it. However, Song Moding always thought that Zhang Xiaoxiao had been heartbroken and fat recently. I didn't think about it at all. Mr. Feng found the best obstetrician and gynecologist. They were really shocked when they saw the 2 tiny fetuses displayed on the ultrasound machine, but the fact was there was no doubt about it. 2 heads, 2 tails, 4 arms, 4 legs, and both children are obviously female, clearly. I can't think of 2 names. Mr. Song said reluctantly, sounding a bit hysterical. Mrs. Song reached out and patted his knee gently. We still have a few months to think of a name. After Tang Yuan, having another child requires courage. Zhang Xiaoxiao, I am only prepared to have one. Tang Yuan's father, what if they are both the same as Tang Yuan? Song Moding couldn't help but turn pale when he thought of glutinous rice balls. Tang Yuan is simply a little bastard. Tang Yuan has the ability to make the whole family's hair turn gray within a year. For a child with a limited vocabulary, the result of their existence is to cause an incredible turmoil in an extremely short period of time. Baizai was very considerate and tried his best to take care of the glutinous rice balls, but the murders continued one after another. If only there were 2 more like this. Song Moding himself couldn't bear it. Zhang Xiaoxiao laughed so happily. Song Moding met glutinous rice balls, and it was also a scholar who met soldiers. There is no explanation. This son is too naughty. Song Zi and Tang Yuan were hiding in the corner. Did you really see that they were two sisters? Song Zi has wanted a soft and cute sister for a long time. This family needs more relatives. This time I can be an older brother and witness the birth of my two younger sisters. It will be the most fulfilling thing for him. Beizai has now been integrated into the family. Deep in his heart, he has long recognized Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding as his parents. Even though he knows that they are not his real parents, they are closer to him than his real parents. Zhang Xiaoxiao will not be merciful to him because of his past experience. In addition to doting on him, he will be more strict in his education. Every time he sat on the punishment chair, he always felt very satisfied. This is different from Guanziahiwu. His parents love him. Every time they punished him, they would tell him clearly what mistake he had made, what he had done wrong, and what he should have done. Unlike other parents, who simply and rudely locked him in a small dark room without feeding him, Tang Yuan treats him like a real brother. The two brothers' ability to make mistakes together gives their parents a headache. Of course. They are two sisters. I can see them clearly. Tang Yuan patted his chest and promised. By the way, I haven't told you that Bai Yi is unhappy in the room, and I don't know what happened to her today. Beizai likes Yi who is much older than him. Tang Yuan opened his round eyes. I'll show you. Bai Yi is reading a letter. I don't know so many words, so I can't understand it. It's a letter from her second uncle. Bai Yi is crying. What should I do? Tang Yuan was very nervous. He had been attached to this little ant since he was a child, even though she was only a few years older than him. But I was particularly close to him when I was little. Bai Yi loves to laugh very much. I have never seen Bai Yi cry, but today Bai Yi actually cried when she read the letter. Beizai was also dumbfounded. Every time Bai Yi smiles, her eyebrows are crooked and there are two pair dimples at the corners of her mouth. It makes people very happy to see it. Bai Yi actually cries. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 618. Chapter 618 Buying Tickets. Bai Yi organized her things and took out the change from her piggy bank. These are what Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others give her every year. Zhang Xiaoxiao never cared about their New Year's money. She blamed herself secretly. She should obviously tell her sister about this, but she knew that if her sister knew about it, she would definitely go back with her. Her sister is now pregnant, and they have twins. What should I do if my sister gets sick because of my own affairs? What to do if you hurt your child? She is 8 years old and she knows what to do. She is very smart. There is probably a kind of person who is born very smart, and Bai Yi is this kind. The second uncle's letter said that my mother was released from prison. Her mother had been released from prison a long time ago. According to time calculation, 1 year after she came to Kyoto, her mother should be released from prison. But her mother hasn't come to her yet. Bai Yi has been thinking about this and wondering why her mother hasn't come to her. She thought her mother's life would be difficult after she was released from prison. After all, after her grandparents passed away, her father was not at home, and the family house was said to have been sold. Besides, the family has little property. After her mother is released from prison, she has no place to live and no ability to live. She must first settle down before she will consider picking her up. Although she is living a good life here in Zhangxiaoxiao. Good food, good housing, and enjoyment are the best benefits in life, but it is natural for children to miss their parents. No one will dislike their parents. She was once in a dilemma, thinking about what she would do if her mother really came to pick her up. Should he follow his mother, or would he choose to stay? If you leave, Will it hurt the little sister's heart? If she doesn't leave, it will break her mother's heart. But the matter did not embarrass her at all, because her mother did not come to see her at all. Sometimes she wrote letters intentionally or unintentionally to want to know news about her mother, but her second uncle always told her that her mother had not contacted them at all after she was released from prison. But this time, her second uncle suddenly sent a letter telling her that her mother was back. This once made her very happy, and she could finally see her mother. But what shocked her was that her second uncle said that her mother was going to divorce her father and that her mother was planning to remarry. Although there is no news from my father, in my heart, he is still my father. Now my mother suddenly wants to get married again. Bai Yi can't stand it. Of course, what made her even more unbearable was that her second uncle said that her mother was now accompanied by a 1-year-old little girl. It is said that she is the mother's daughter. When the second uncle mentioned her, her mother actually never said anything about taking her back. Bai Yi is too sad. She decided to go back no matter what. She won't let anyone know about this. Bai Yi packed her money and some simple things in books. She and Zhang Xiaoxiao have taken the train several times, so of course she knows what to do on the train. It is impossible for her to buy a train ticket at her current age. No place will sell train tickets to her. But she knew Uncle Wei, and her eldest brother-in-law knew the train ticket seller. As long as she did it well, this train ticket would be easy to buy. Bai Yi went to find Zhang Yu after school. Zhang Yu was not at home today. Qin Ming got off work. Qin Ming drove the car to pick up the 2 children from the nursery. Right? Their family now has 2 children, a son and a daughter. In addition to Niu Niu, their family also has a big kid. Little Fatty is 2 years old now. Is the son born after they returned to the city? The son's name is Qin Jianli, and the daughter's name is Qin Jiankaiu. Niu Niu is now more than 4 years old, and she behaves like a big sister. She is followed by the little follower and the big boss every day. The classes at Jiangxin school are quite busy, so he can only come back 2 days a week. Most of the time, Qin Ming is alone with his 2 children. Fortunately, the place where the couple lives is close to the mother-in-law's home. Fan Jiuying would pick up the 2 children from time to time, and they often went to her mother-in-law's house to eat. When Qin Ming works overtime, the children will be sent to Fan Jiuying. Qin Ming was particularly grateful to his mother-in-law. After the couple returned to the city, they helped with many things. Even for his own work, it was originally impossible for him to come to Kyoto to work. It's not because of my sister-in-law and brother-in-law's help. His job was successfully transferred here, and not only was he transferred here, because he had always performed well at work, and after being transferred, he became the deputy director of the factory a year later. As long as he has more qualifications, he, the deputy director of the factory, is likely to become the official director of the factory in 2 years if possible. Qin Ming has not been idle these years. Although his academic qualifications are not high, he went to night school at night and passed the adult college entrance examination by himself. In the power plant, he is considered a business expert with scientific research. Even though he is the deputy director, he has achieved this position by relying on his own true ability. Saw a little man standing at the door of their house. Qin Ming got off the bicycle. Yi, why did you come here alone? Qin Ming looked around and found that Bai Yi would definitely come with Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others on weekdays. This is the first time I have come to my home. Bai Yi smiled and held the hands of Niu Niu and Dainiu. Brother-in-law, I'm going back to Grandma's house today, and by the way, I'm sending you a message for my little sister. She wants a ticket back to the West Market, and she's sending it to a classmate. You also know that my sister is pregnant with twins recently. I'm not feeling well. I didn't go back to my grandma's house today. She asked me to bring you a message. You bought the ticket and I took it back to her. Bai Yi lied without changing her expression. When Qin Ming heard this, he realized that his sister-in-law was dragging him to do something, so of course he had to do it quickly. It was not a big deal. Okay, you take Nyunio and Dainio to your grandma's place, I'll buy the tickets and give them to you in a while. Hey, brother-in-law, this is money. Bai Yi put the 50 yuan in Qin Ming's hand. Qin Ming smiled and said, you can give it to me when you come back. Why are you in a hurry? Bai Yi had already dragged her 3 children, Nyunio and Dainio, away without a trace. Qin Ming didn't waste any time and got on his bicycle and went directly to the train station. Chief Wei's brother-in-law is now a director at the train station, so it is easier to buy tickets now. He just walked around and got the train ticket, and bought the best seat. Since I bought a ticket to go back, I will definitely have to take a sleeper car for such a long journey. Qin Ming returned to his mother-in-law's house. Nyunio and Dainio were eating. Qin Ming took off his coat, and his mother-in-law called for him to come to the table and eat quickly. Fan Qiuying is busy now, with several grandchildren and daughters nearby. From time to time, Zhang Xiaoxiao also comes back with her children. Other than worrying that my son is not married yet, the family is as lively as the new year every day. After Bai Yi finished eating, while Fan Qiuying was busy in the kitchen, she asked Qin Ming to take the train ticket and carefully put it in her pocket. Now that the train tickets have been purchased, everything is ready. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 619. Chapter 619 Blind Date. Fan Qiuying and Zhang Yu wash dishes. Zhang Yu's tailor shop is now on the right track and has hired 3 tailors. Apart from drawing design drawings and cutting clothes, they don't spend much time making clothes anymore. After all, there are people doing the work in the store now, and they can also take care of the 2 children. I can't be a mother and ignore the children all day long for the sake of business. Zayadai Lottie is also very sensible, and the children now have excellent academic performance. Mom, we have a big family at home now. If it doesn't work, you can hire a nanny. You see, you are almost ready for kindergarten every day. When it comes to dinner time, there are at least 4 or 5 children. Plus you and my dad, plus us. Zhang Xian has the confidence to say this now. The business of her clothing and tailor shop is very good, and her monthly income is several thousand yuan. In this era, a household worth 10,000 yuan is rare, and hers with a few thousand yuan is indeed enviable. Fan Qiuying said as she wiped the dishes. Now that you have money and become a rich man, you just ask me to hire someone. Hiring a nanny is our family's job. If the neighbors know about it, they won't laugh at your mother and your father. The 2 of us are here all day long. When the house is idle, I hire a nanny to do some work. The children in the family live a stable life and have good jobs. The couple now have a very light burden. They used to make matchboxes at home to support their family. But now that the grandchildren have too much to take care of, the 2 of them have long stopped making matchboxes. In addition to their retirement salary, their children will also send them living expenses every month. The couple is actually living a good life. Mom, you can't care too much about the opinions of your neighbors. You'll be the only one who is tired of worrying about the opinions of others. There are too many children at home, and I don't know about them. Lottie and Zayadai alone live with you every day. What are you helping me with? I can't be too tired for you. I'm doing business and I can't take care of my family from time to time. You know my sister is so busy with college courses, and Xiao Xiao is the same. Now, not only is she busy with school courses, but she is also pregnant with twins. I don't care about you at all. It's not like you don't know Zhang Lei. He is away from home all day long and is extremely busy. When you get old, it will make you too even busier. Zhang Xian really felt that she owed her parents. Fan Jiuying sighed, it's okay to be busy. If you're busy, we two old ones will be fine anyway. The most important thing is that your brother is worrying. How old is he now? All the sisters in the family are married. He has children, but he is still hanging around there alone. I hope that he will get a wife and start a family as soon as possible. Pushing for marriage is probably a complex that parents of any era will have. Fan Jiuying is of course worried about her son. Her son is 3 years older than Xiao Xiao, and Xiao Xiao is the same age now. Zhang Lei is not in a hurry, but his parents are. Zhang Xian thought the same thing. Zhang Lei was already 25. In this era, he is an older young man. Mom, don't be too anxious. This matter requires fate. You can't rush it. It is true that Zhang Lei is the only one in the family who has not married yet. Own. The same goes for you. The day before yesterday, your Aunt Lu told me that there was a good teacher. His wife was gone and he left a daughter. He was a good person, honest and kind. If you don't meet her, you can't live with such a person. You are still young. Fan Jiuying worries about every child. The eldest and youngest are now stable and don't have to worry about them, but the second and third children are always worrying her. Especially the second child, who now lives alone with 2 children. Although he does his own business, he doesn't have to worry about money. But it's not about money, a woman still needs someone to rely on. Zhang Xian had a headache when she heard this topic. Mom, I don't have that thought, I just want to raise my child well, I don't think about anything else. Meeting Qin Dazhuang was enough to make Zhang Xian worried. One more one? Zhang Xian felt frightened when she thought of this. It's not that I can't live without a man, I don't want that. What's the use of having a man? When he was facing Qin Dazhuang, he thought he was his lifelong lover, but now, from domestic violence to gambling, all kinds of methods emerge in endlessly. I once thought that such an honest and reliable man could become like this, let alone face another stranger. Zhang Xian really didn't have that intention. Instead of having to worry about that every day, it is better to run a good business at home, take good care of the 2 children and educate them into adults, and that will be my whole life. Fan Jiuying sighed. Mom knows that you were injured. After a person is injured, there will be scars in the heart. It hurts terribly when the wound is opened. But how old are you? You see, you are only 29, you can't just be like this. After spending a lifetime with children, people have to look forward. Just because Qin Dazhuang is not good does not mean that others are not good either. Look at your dad. Isn't your dad a good man? You can't kill a whole boatload of people with one shot. You also have to think about the children. If there is no man in the family, the children will always be looked down upon if they do not have a father. It's not like you don't know. It's hard for a woman to live. Mom is not forcing you. If we are injured, let us recuperate and start over. After all, there are more good people than bad people in this world. Mom believes this. Fan Jiuying couldn't explain the truth, but she knew that her daughter had been badly hurt. Who knew that Qin Dazhuang was so virtuous? He used to be such an honest man, so kind to his wife and children, but later he turned into that. Although the 2 children said that their father Qin Dazhuang now does a small business, and then no gambling either, and great for kids. But no matter how good she is, she would not dare to give her daughter to Qin Dazhuang again. For such a person, who knows one day his true colors will be revealed after a meal of wine. It's not like they didn't know what kind of condition their daughter was beaten into. Zhang Xian said nothing. Fan Jiuying had no idea. I know, you look exactly like your dad. If you don't tell me anything, You won't say a word if you have something on your mind. You keep it all to yourself. Go tell Zhang that he must give me a blind date tomorrow. Your Aunt Lu introduced a girl. Is a nurse in the hospital, 2 years younger than him. Even if he sees me, he must let me see him, and if he doesn't see him, he must let me see him. This is a dead order. Zhang Xian smiled. Zhang Lei's temperament is still a bit impetuous, and he doesn't know what kind of girl he will meet to become his sister-in-law, who can contain his brother's heart. Mom, don't worry, I will convey your order to him if Zhang Lei dares not to go. Can I go and twist his ears? Fan Xiuying gave her daughter a roll of her eyes. You are all in the same boat, and you still dare to tell me that you are going to twist his ears. You seem to be able to twist him. He can run faster than a rabbit. Can you catch up? Zhang Xian burst into laughter. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 620. Chapter 620 Planning. Qin Dazhuang stood outside the wall, listening to the laughter in the yard, and his heart ached slightly. Although he and Zhang Xian haven't seen each other for more than a year, the voice is still so familiar that it makes him feel sad when he hears it. This is my daughter-in-law who has lived with me for almost 10 years. It used to feel like a jewel in my hand, but I did something stupid. This used to be his mother-in-law's house that he was familiar with. He didn't dare to go in at all. He only dared to listen to his wife's voice through the courtyard wall. Right? She is no longer his wife. Now I am my ex-wife. He knew that Zhang Xian was living a good life and her business was booming. The two children admired their mother. Every time I talk to myself, I say how hard my mother works and how capable she is. What about him? He is still selling pancakes and fruits. Although he once had extravagant hopes in his heart and wanted to get back together with Zhang Xian, every time he thinks about this, he wonders how could he be so shameless. Should he be able to say this kind of thing, and should he be able to have this kind of thought? He hurt his wife and children so much, and now he still has the nerve to want to get back together with his ex-wife. Why didn't he think about getting back together when he punched Zhang Xian? If he were Zhang Xian, he wouldn't agree to get back together. What kind of man is he? He wants a home now but has no home. He doesn't have a stable job, and he can't give Zhang Xian a stable and peaceful life for his children. Why do you dare to think so? Is it just because of his big face? Qin Dazhuang turned and left silently. Zhang Lei rode his bicycle into the alley and saw the familiar figure in the distance. Looked at it suspiciously, it looked like Qin Dazhuang's back. Could it be that he came to harass his sister and his mother again? Qin Dazhuang has not been around for more than a year. His niece said that his father has now set up a pancake stall and sells pancakes in front of the school. It is said that business is not bad. It seems that the foreign debt has been repaid almost as well. I heard that I am planning to save some money to buy a yard to live in. He thought Qin Dazhuang had finally given up, but he didn't expect that he was giving up. This evil intention had arisen again. Could it be that he was plotting against his sister again? Pushing the bicycle in, I saw Fan Xiuying and Zhang Xian washing dishes in the kitchen. Mom, did Qin Dazhuang come here just now? Is he harassing second sister? If he dares to come, drive him out with a fire stick. Second sister, you have to remember, for a man like Qin Dazhuang, you can't trust him anymore. This man hits a woman with his fist only for the first time and never for the last time. When Zhang Lei thought of his second sister's appearance back then, he wanted to punch Qin Dazhuang a few more times. He and his father should have beaten Qin Dazhuang as hard as he could. Zhang Xian paused. Did you see Qin Dazhuang at the door of our house? Zhang Lei nodded. I think this guy is still very evil. Maybe he is still thinking about my sister. Second sister, you can't be soft-hearted. Zhang Lei was afraid that his second sister would be deceived by Qin Dazhuang. Fan Jiuying glanced outside the door. What does this Jin Dazhuang want to do? He doesn't want people to live a good life. Zhang Xian has finally lived a better life, and now he comes to the door to cause trouble. Why does he think our family's life is easy? Are you here to cause trouble for our family again? Fan Jiuying became furious when she mentioned her ex-son-in-law. Zhang Lei understood immediately. Mom, it's okay if he doesn't cause trouble for you. If he does, you and Dad will kick him out. He's so big that you can't be soft-hearted to him. Zhang Lei has now changed his job. He is now also the director of the transportation department. Still the youngest director, he was the director right after he passed the job. He only served as director for half a year, so he was immediately promoted to director by his superiors. Vehicles owned by the transport department under unified management. Of course, the hospital's vehicles are actually relatively free. Except for ambulances, there are not that many things under his control. The work here is easy and the pay is good. Zhang Lei's salary here is more than 300 yuan a month now, working from 8 to 6, just sitting in the office, reading reports and approving documents. It made Zhang Lei feel like he was retiring early because his ambitions were unfulfilled. Luckily, Zhang Lei was smart. In addition to working in the hospital, he also set up a transportation company outside. Brother-in-law and uncle supported him with some money and bought 2 more cars for long-distance transportation. He now knows a lot of people, and he doesn't have to worry about his connections at all, so his business is actually doing well. I got it. As for you, just worry about yourself. Mom said that she has arranged a blind date for you tomorrow. You have to go tomorrow, whether you want to go or not. If you dare not to go, Mom will interrupt. Your legs. Zhang Xian is now a bad learner and knows how to stab people in the heart. As expected, when Zhang Lei heard this, he turned around and prepared to run away. Stone, don't run away from me. Fan Jiuying shouted to stop. Zhang Lei had a look of disgust on his face. Mom, I told you a long time ago, don't call me Shitu. It's not enough for you to call me Zhang Lei. Shitu sounds so unpleasant. No matter how unpleasant it is, your dad and I have been yelling at you since we were little. Now you ask us to change our words. You are not bullying anyone. I tell you, don't think about running away. Ask for leave tomorrow to meet the girl. Your Aunt Lu has made an appointment to meet at the gate of Hepping Park. You will go over to meet the girl at 11 noon. If you dare not go, I'm telling you, I'll break your legs. Zhang Lei was dejected. Mom, I'm still so young, you're forcing me to go on a date, and you don't even look at who Aunt Lu introduces to me every time. They're all crooked and broken. Yes, who can see it? You can't make me pure and pure. Maybe I'll fall in love with a girl when I go out on the street. I'll definitely come back and get her as your daughter-in-law, okay? Please, please spare me. He is really afraid of his mother and Aunt Lu, who is a natural matchmaker. I don't like any of the girls introduced in the question. Fan Jiuying had a dark face and didn't say a word. Zhang Lei saw that his mother had such an expression that he really couldn't bear it. He waved his hands hastily. Okay, I'm convinced. I'm convinced, okay. I'll go. I'll definitely go tomorrow. If I don't go, there will be thunder and lightning, okay. Fan Jiuying glared at Zhang Lei angrily. Bah, you boy, what are you talking about? You are really not afraid of God beating you. Zhang Lei went in. Bai Yi went home directly before it got dark. Zhang Xiaoxiao knew that she was going to her grandma's house today, so she didn't pay much attention. She went back to her room after seeing the little girl come home. I thought this girl was tired today, so I didn't notice it. Mainly because Zhang Xiaoxiao's reaction in the early stages of pregnancy is quite severe and she doesn't have enough energy to take care of it. Bai Yi has always been very independent, so relatively speaking, she didn't pay so much attention to Bai Yi. Of course, they didn't know that Bai Yi directly put clothes and things in her school bag when she went to school the next day, and she also had money with her. She had already planned to go directly to the train station after school at noon, because the train ticket was after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She will leave a note asking for leave for the teacher before school ends at noon. By the time the teacher and Zhang Xiaoxiao found out, she should have already been on the train home. Tang Yuan whispered to Beizai. My sister has a train ticket in her hand. The steamed stuffed buns are 5 or 6 months bigger than the glutinous rice dumplings. Besides, she is well informed and knows what Bai Yi wants to do as soon as she thinks about it. End of this chapter.